India successfully landed to Moon. Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin on list of passengers on plane that crashed miles from Moscow. South Africa hosted the 2023 BRICS summit and the joint forwarded a joint statement. India successfully landed to Moon. Chandrayaan-3 Transil moon craft is the third Indian lunar exploration mission under the Indian Space Research Organisation's ISRO Chandrayaan program. It consists of a lander named Vikram and a rover named Prigozhin, similar to those of the Chandrayaan-2 mission. The propulsion module carried the lander and rover configuration to lunar orbit in preparation for a powered descent by the lander. Chandrayaan-3 was launched on the 14th of July 2023. The lander and rover landed at the lunar South Pole region on the 23rd of August 2023 at 18:02 Indian time, making India the first country to successfully land a spacecraft near the lunar South Pole and the fourth country to soft land on the Moon. It is remembered that on the 22nd of July 2019, ISRO launched Chandrayaan-2 on board a launch vehicle Mark III launch vehicle consisting of an orbiter, a lander, and a rover. The lander ultimately crashed when it deviated from its intended trajectory while attempting to land. But these days India is proud to be able to successfully land on the Moon. As Chandrayaan-3 was making history, Prime Minister Narendra Modi joined in virtually from South Africa and witnessed the safe landing of Chandrayaan-3 live stream. Though he couldn't be present at the ISRO headquarters, he called the ISRO chief, S. Somanath right after the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3 and promised to congratulate Team ISRO in person soon. Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin on list of passengers on plane that crashed miles from Moscow. Yevgeny Viktorovich Prigozhin was a Russian oligarch and mercenary leader who had been a close confidant of Russian President Vladimir Putin until he launched a rebellion in June 2023. Prigozhin was sometimes referred to as Putin's chef because he owned restaurants and catering companies that provide services to the Kremlin. Once a convict in the Soviet Union, Prigozhin controlled a network of influential companies whose operations, according to a 2022 investigation, were tightly integrated with Russia's defense ministry and its intelligence arm. The founder of the Wagner private mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, who Russian aviation authorities says was on board a plane that crashed with no survivors, was once close enough to Vladimir Putin to be called his personal chef before he led a mutiny that posed the greatest challenge to the president's long rule. Prigozhin was an elusive figure for years, growing wealthy in the chaos and opportunity of the post-Soviet Russian economy. He was thrust into the spotlight through his group's close involvement in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, securing rare victories for the Kremlin. Prigozhin led an armed insurrection against Putin 2 months ago to the day on June 23, after railing against the country's military brass over their handling of the Ukraine war. His group started marching towards Moscow, shooting down military aircraft and killing Russian servicemen. But it was abruptly halted when a deal was brokered by Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko. Russian state-run news agencies on Wednesday said that Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner group that led a mutiny against Russia's army in June, was on the list of passengers of a plane that crashed. The plane that crashed in the Tver region listed Yevgeny Prigozhin among its passengers, Russia's aviation agency Rosaviatsya said. TASS news agency reported, with RIA Novosti and Interfax issuing similar reports, there were 10 people on board, including 3 crew members. According to preliminary information, all those on board died, Russia's Ministry for Emergency Situation had said shortly before. South Africa hosted the 2023 BRICS summit and the joint forwarded a joint statement. As the 15th BRICS summit is underway in South Africa's Johannesburg, the leaders of the bloc formally forwarded a joint statement. The BRICS expressed concern about the use of unilateral coercive measures and reiterated their commitment towards inclusive multilateralism and upholding international law, along with enhancing and improving global governance by the promotion of a more agile, effective, efficient, representative, democratic and accountable international and multilateral system. The leaders also called for countries to cooperate in promoting and protecting human rights and fundamental freedoms under the principles of equality and mutual respect. They agreed to strengthen cooperation on issues of common interests within BRICS as well as multilateral fora like UN General Assembly and UN Human Rights Council. They called for the need to make progress towards the achievement of a fair and market-oriented agricultural trading system, ending hunger, achieving food security and improved nutrition, promoting sustainable agriculture and food systems, and implement resilient agricultural practices. The bloc also supported a comprehensive reform of the UN that includes the Security Council, towards making it more democratic, representative, effective and efficient, and to increase the representation of developing countries in the Council's memberships to address global challenges. The BRICS leaders in the joint statement also expressed concern about ongoing conflicts across the world and shared the commitment towards peaceful resolution of differences and disputes through dialogue and inclusive consultations. They also noted the importance of the growing participation of women in peace processes. They call on the international community to support countries in working together towards post-pandemic economic recovery. They emphasize the importance of contributing to post-conflict countries' reconstruction and development and call upon the international community to assist countries in meeting their development goals. All the countries maintained their respective positions vis-à-vis the ongoing war in Ukraine and appreciated the mediation efforts aimed at a peaceful resolution. They also expressed strong condemnation of terrorism in all forms and manifestations and reiterated their commitment to combat the issue, including in cross-border movement of terrorists and terror financing networks and safe havens. The leaders of BRICS countries also encourage multilateral financial institutions and international organizations to play a constructive role in building global consensus on economic policies and acknowledge the weakening global growth momentum after the COVID-19 pandemic. It was said that they recognize the important role of BRICS countries working together to deal with risks and challenges to the world economy in achieving global recovery and sustainable development. They reaffirmed their commitment to enhance macroeconomic policy coordination, deepen economic cooperation, and work to realize strong, sustainable, balanced and inclusive economic recovery. The leaders of BRICS countries also encourage multilateral financial institutions and international organizations to play a constructive role in building global consensus on economic policies and acknowledge the weakening global growth momentum after the COVID-19 pandemic. It was said that they recognize the important role of BRICS countries working together to deal with risks and challenges to the world economy in achieving global recovery and sustainable development. They reaffirmed their commitment to enhance macroeconomic policy coordination, deepen economic cooperation, and work to realize strong, sustainable, balanced and inclusive economic recovery. They also committed to promote employment for sustainable development, including to develop skills to ensure resilient recovery, gender-responsive employment and social protection policies including workers' rights. Regarding sustainable development, the heads of states of BRICS supported the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in the economic, social and environmental dimensions. They called for implementing sustainable development goals in an integrated and holistic manner in the areas of poverty eradication and combating climate change. They also emphasized on collaboration on biodiversity conservation and sustainable use matters. They stressed the need for support of developed countries to developing countries for access to existing and emerging low-emission technologies and solutions that avoid, abate and remove greenhouse gas emissions and enhance adaptation action to address climate change. They also focused on strengthening BRICS cooperation on population matters and in disaster management and committed to strengthening skills exchanges and cooperation among BRICS countries. The statement comes as the leaders unanimously agreed for expansion and welcomed 6 countries, named Argentina, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran.